A young adventurer might look up to see all the different stars in the night sky and wonder just how many different worlds there are up there. Gods, fiends, angels. These are well-known dwellers of the multiverse, but what else is there? What are some of the most strange creatures to be found? Floating somewhere in the astral sea, there is a plane consisting entirely of rotating gears moving in precise mathematical sequences. This plane is called Mechanist, a place of ultimate law and order, where everything operates in a strict schedule. Every action is planned, measured, and controlled perfectly. This is where the Modron reside. The Modrons are a race of geometrical constructs with few humanoid features that spend their entire existence making sure that Mechanist is running properly. There are many different kinds of Modrons, starting from the lowly monodrone to the extremely powerful Secundus. Each type of construct, of course, having its very own job to fulfill. These jobs are important as Modrons work in a very specific type of hierarchy. The higher the Modron in this hierarchy, the more complex the construction of the Modron is, and the more it can do. You see, the most basic of all are the monodrones, who are simply there to do the most simple of tasks and only ever do one of these tasks at a time. They also can only take orders from duodrones, which are the next in line in the hierarchy. Duodrones are a more advanced version of the monodrones, being able to perform up to 2 tasks at a time, and it goes on and on. For example, the duodrones only take orders from the tridrones, which are a more advanced version of the duodrones who can only take orders from the quadrones. This type of ladder goes as far up as the ultimate leader of the Modrons, the greater deity Primus, who is also the creator of the entire race. A Modron would never break the order of this hierarchy, but even if it were to try to, it just wouldn't be possible, since a monodrone wouldn't even be able to understand a tridrone, since the tridrone would be far too advanced for the monodrone to comprehend. On the same vein, a quadrone attempting to command a duodrone would fail to do so, since the duodrone would be far too simple to understand the complex orders given to it by the quadrone. The mind of each Modron is networked to the entire race in a hive mind style of connection, where Primus is at the very top. This is why Modrons always talk about themselves using terms such as we or us instead of I or he. Primus, of course, having complete control over the entire network and being able to communicate and control every single machine regardless of its status in the hierarchy. Because of this maximum network and hive mind status, every command that a Modron receives is absolute, and the construct will complete its command without hesitation, pity, ego, or remorse. This makes it extremely difficult to convince a Modron to do something it wouldn't normally do. Whether you try to accomplish this through persuasion or through magic, it probably won't work either way. As much as they seem mechanical, and to an extent they are, their creation and existence is still magical. The portrayal of engineering is there, and they behave in that manner as well, but the closer you look, the more you realize it is still fantastical. When a Modron is destroyed or stops functioning, be that because of combat or because of corruption, error, or whatever reason, the body of the Modron completely disintegrates. As soon as that happens, a Modron of a level below the destroyed Modron gets magically improved so as to take on the spot of the destroyed Modron. For example, if a duodrone were to be vanquished, then a random monodrone would shine in a flash of light and transform from a monodrone into a duodrone and immediately take on its position. At that point, a new monodrone gets created from a magical pool of power in the middle of Mechanist, making sure that the balance is still struck. If a Modron of a very high hierarchy gets destroyed, then a Modron from just a level below will evolve and take its place, at which point a Modron of a level below the replacement will also evolve to the place of the replacement, and so on and so forth until a monodrone turns into a duodrone, at which point a new monodrone will be created from the pool. So make no mistake, all of these constructs are part of a greater gear and the magics that suffuse this realm, and the realm is, at the very core, magical. As much as they seem mechanical, they might just not be at all, and at the very center of it is once again, Primus. Primus is humanoid in shape and androgynous in style, and nobody really knows where it came from or for how long it's been there. Whether it was Primus and its creations that spawned the world of Mechanist, or whether the very stuff of pure law and mathematics spawned Primus and the Modrons. Some sages and deities even suggest that he might be an elemental primordial, but of a different kind. What's known, however, is that for eons it has existed at the very hub of the central cog of Regulus, the supreme intelligence of the Modron race. It sits on top of a magical pool of energy, towering about 2 to 3 times the size of a normal human, with its enormous hands being hidden inside of portals to 2 different worlds, its right hand obscured by rainbows, hiding a portal to Arcadia, and its left hand hidden in darkness, obscuring a portal to Acheron. Primus is said to be immune to all magic and be one of the single most intelligent creatures in the multiverse. If, however, by some form of calamity or deity-level encounter, Primus were to be destroyed, a Secundus Modron would immediately be promoted to replace it. So just like that, in a massive flash of light, a greater deity level of entity gets created once again, making sure that Primus always exists. Being one of the most enigmatic entities in the multiverse, once every 289 years, Primus unleashes what has now been dubbed the Great Modron March, during which thousands upon thousands of Modrons explore the outer planes, destroying those who get in their way, seeking something. Nobody really knows what it is that they seek or what is their purpose in this march, but they get out there and scatter all around the great wheel of space. Only a few Modron ever survive the march and report to Primus about their secret task. Some people think it is simply an exploration ritual, done to coalesce as much information as possible and to make sure that the order of the universe stays as it should. Others think that every 289 years, which equals 17 precise cycles of the largest gear in Mechanist, that the plane reaches a critical point of energy that needs to be exhaled. So Primus sends an endless army of Modrons to die, simply so that it is then forced to recreate them, hence unleashing that pent-up energy in the plane. There is a record, however, of a point in time when Primus was actually destroyed, even if momentarily. You see, the demon lord Orcus had been killed, and in its stead a shadowy version of himself named Tenebrau came forth. Tenebrau had access to an impossibly powerful spell called the Last Word, which he had found in some ancient ruins in Arborea. Even the very knowledge of the spell posed a massive threat to the lingering body of Tenebrau. Such was its power. Regardless, Tenebrau used this spell to slay Primus where it stood, a magical spell so powerful that it could kill deities. He then took on the mantle of Primus by impersonating it, taking complete control over the Modrons. You see, Tenebrau was looking for the lost wand of Orcus, which he needed in order to resurrect himself. So he ordered the Modrons to form a great march earlier than scheduled, with the sole purpose of finding this wand. Once the march was over, Tenebrau simply left the position of Primus, leaving the Secunders to promote themselves to the position once again. However, a taint had been left in the Modrons after the hostile takeover of the Demon Lord. One of the very powerful Secunders had been magically poisoned by this taint, corrupted for its formal behavior and changed forever. As soon as a Secundar was randomly chosen and ready to take on the mantle of Primus, the corrupted Secundar challenged him. Something that was completely antithetical to the behavior of the Modrons, but something that was technically a part of the Modron rules set by the previous Primus. The challenge was simple. The Secundar who kills the most chaotic creatures in a single week would win. The uncorrupted Secundar traveled as far as Limbo to kill as many slats as it could, while the corrupted Secundar simply went to Bitopia and ordered its subordinates to kill entire towns of gnomes. Of course, the gnomes were not chaotic creatures and it was against the rules to order subordinates to do the challenge in your stead, so the corrupted Secundar lost. But not before a massive coup took place, and the corrupted Secundar took an army of thousands away from the plane, inciting what would then become a rogue faction. This all because of the disruption of the order of things, and the chaos that Demon Lords bring to pure mathematical perfection. The winning Secundar became Primus, and within a matter of weeks, recovered every single Modron that was lost to the corruption. For such is the power of Primus. Let's talk about Mechanist, however. Mechanist is a pretty big plane. In fact, like most planes, it is infinite. It is, however, comprised of many different realms within it, like demi-planes inside of a bigger one. These realms are finite, however, with beginnings and ends to them. Regulus is where the Modrons reside, which consists of a total of 64 massive cogs, a number that never varies. The whole of Regulus is then divided into 4 quarters of 16 cogs each, ruled by a Secundus. Each quarter is then split into 4 different regions, each ruled by a Quarton. Finally, these regions are then further subdivided into 4 sectors of a single cog each, ruled by an Octon. The center is a different realm altogether within Mechanist. In this realm, the race of the Formian reside. These are kind of like centaurs, but instead of horses, it's ants, with the head of the creature being the head of an ant. So it's really just an ant with the chest and arms of a human. Very extremely bizarre creatures. They, however, much like the Modron, also behave in a hive mind mentality, lending themselves to the notion of full lawful neutral that the plane obviously suggests. The realm is called the center because at the very core of this realm lies a single enormous central cog, more than 3,000 miles across. The central cog supposedly is what gives movement to all of the other cogs in the entirety of Mechanist. It is there where the Queen of the Formians reside, the Scion Queen Mother. Numinous is one of the most interesting and somewhat important realms within the multiverse. You see, have you ever wondered what would happen if 2 different gods would disagree with one another? And I don't mean like an evil god and a good god, because at that point it would probably just simply turn to war, but when 2 good gods who don't really want to kill each other disagree on something. See, that's when the Inevitables come into place. The Inevitables are impartial judges meant to serve justice in the multiverse. And in here, in Numinous, is where they are created. They were invented by Moradin, the dwarvish god of creation, and the former deity Amath, who used to be the god of justice and mercy, but was later killed by the very same Orcus. Coincidence. They, however, created the Inevitables to have them settle disputes between the gods. Their real name is actually the Marits or the Marits, but they are called the Inevitables by mortals because of their relentless nature in following the law to the bitter end and to all corners of the multiverse. There are, however, multiple types of Marits, and each one is designed to enforce a very specific type of universal law. For example, the Selekut track and hunt those who flee to avoid punishment. Koliaret hunt oathbreakers and those who break agreements. The Marit, which were the original, they hunt those who either extend their lifespan unnaturally or those who commit extreme acts to keep themselves from death. So say someone that sacrifices 200 people just to make sure that they can live longer. The Varakut protect the natural order of things by protecting deities from being killed while also killing mortals who seek to become gods. The Quaret make sure that time and space is not altered, like by wish spells or time travel. And lastly, the Anhydruids, who oppose those who attempt to change deserts into more verdant grounds, like through irrigation or druidic magic. They all look like humanoid constructs, like very advanced robots, but with powerful magic. Now that all has been said and done, go ahead and pick a gate spell and head on over to Mechanist. Maybe you'll be lucky and find yourself a rogue Modron, one that has broken away from Primus's network. Legends say that Modrons are impervious to illusions and invisibility, anything that might fool them, for they see the truth behind it all, the mathematical reality of what is and what isn't. So it might be wise to take one as a pet. Just make sure that it is not corrupted.